Hello, you're watching the development vlog for Shokin, a restaurant waitlist management tool with guest QR code join and text updates. This is Bill from Shokin, and this is week 59 of development. The current status continues to be that the Android and iOS alpha test version of the app continue to be available and ready for testing on Google Play Store and iOS App Store. The goal for last week was to finish the marketing website, the product website for my app. In other words, the website that people can go to look up the information about the app, about the company, about frequently asked questions, legal completeness, stuff like that. This is mostly done. However, I got stuck in the optimization ideation, if you will, loop with regards to improving the attractiveness and the conversion rate of the website. If you think about it, the goal of a product website is to not only to inform, but also to capture the attention of the visitors and hopefully convert them from a visitor to, at the very least, a test user, if not a purchasing user. And I explored a lot of strategies. I thought about putting screenshots on it. I thought about putting video walkthrough of my app on it. But I think that these things would require the visitor to take a decent amount of time to look at the screenshot and sort of comprehend what is going on with the app. It requires thought. It requires deliberation. And one of the things that I learned about marketing is that the first 5 to 10 seconds of the precious time anyone lands on your webpage, your webpage, or it could be your video, are so unbelievably priceless that you have to optimize the short attention span of the 5 to 10 seconds to capture people's attention. And the complicated screenshots, the discussion about what you should do about this, and the video walkthrough that might last 60 to 90 or even more than 2 minutes, that's just not going to cut it. So the thing that I dreamt up was that since my app does a QR code join, in other words, if you use my app and you have a very busy restaurant, you turn on the app, select a waitlist, press the QR code button, and then you turn the tablet facing towards your customers. And then the customers can walk in, see the instructions to scan the QR code and join themselves to the waitlist. This is one of the value adds for my particular app. It lessens the workload of the host. Since I have this in my app, hey, I thought to myself, why not just use this and display this on my hero page, on the very first section of my web page, as a test ride. In other words, the visitors who are interested in my product, I want them to experience what their customers would experience when they visit my website. They can see this QR code join page, what it would look like on their device, and then they would take out their phone to scan it, or since they're already browsing my webpage, they might not have a secondary device to scan the QR code, you can press on it, and it'll take you to the join page as if you just scanned it, right? So I think that this requires no reading. Well, it requires perhaps a little bit of it, but it's definitely within 10 seconds. And a person can immediately act upon it by tapping it, by looking at what it looks like, get the feel of it. And then not only that, they can tap on the QR code, be taken to a live page that they can then join as a guest to my mock restaurant. And then going back to my webpage, they can immediately see the guest number update and understand that this is a real and live service. So I think, I don't major in marketing, but given the loop that I just described, I think this is a very compelling and visually engaging way to capture the attention, the precious morsel of 5 to 10 seconds of my visitors. So I got stuck in that because, my app is in Kotlin Multiplatform. I axed the WASM build target. In other words, Kotlin Multiplatform technically can do web targets, but the implementation has been in experimental for I don't know how long, since my birth, I think. And it's just not mature enough. And there's plenty of much lighter weight product competitors on the market, such that it doesn't make a lot of sense for me to build my product website using Kotlin Multiplatform. So the platform I've chosen is Astro. It seems to be a very popular one for a lightweight sort of JAMStack. In other words, you don't have a backend. I don't have a backend for my product website. Well, for this, I do have a backend. I do have a database, but I don't have a server backend for my website. The website is a JAMStack. In other words, the app lives in the user's browser, and then that app in the user's browser then fetches directly the information from my backend database. So this is a very lightweight implementation of my product website. However, because it's of a different architecture, I need to come up with since I'm putting in a functional UI from my app on my website, that requires some consideration with regards to how to format it, how to write it up, and how to make sure that it can access my backend securely without, exposing all the personally identifiable information and getting hacked and stuff like that. So that took a little bit of consideration, but that's up. That's up and running at this very moment right now on the website. There's some optimization that I need to do. The formatting doesn't seem to be the most on point. One of the biggest issues is that web design is much more responsive than platform design, than mobile design. Mobile designs, if you think about iPads and Androids is a bit of a different story, but if you think about iPads, there's really only been a couple of different screen sizes and screen aspect ratios. You really only need to account for not many different variations, whereas on web development for my product website, as you can imagine, the screen can go from as tiny as a tiny phone screen to as giant as a projector screen. And the web design has to accommodate that. That's the responsive design part of it. And as a result of that, the formatting on my mock QR display page may not be the most faithful representation of what it might look like in my app. So that took some consideration, and I think that I can still use quite a decent amount of improvement and optimization to make it look nicer. So that's one part of the improvement that I'm looking to do. And the other part is cinching up the language, the formatting, and the rest of it on the website. I have full intention to take my current website, which is marked as under development, out of development. In other words, I want it to become a fully fledged, ready to use, ready to face the customer website. That means I have to add in, well, not only do I need to make sure that the copy, the information, verbiage, wording, and everything is accurate, I also have to make sure that the analytics are in, because I need to see what's working and what's not working on a product website. And not only that, I'd have to, my plan is to move past the internal test phase from Google Play Store to external test phase on Google Play Store. So currently, users who want to test my app on Google Play Store would have to join a private group, click a different link to authorize the testing, and then they would be able to download the app. There's a lot of friction for people who want to test the app. So moving from internal testing to external testing in Google Play Store would allow my testers to bypass any of that. And theoretically, they can just use the link and download the app and start testing. However, this requires that I have a properly filled out web store listing. What that means is that all the descriptions, subtitles, keywords, tags, as well as screenshots, videos, and the things that you see, everything that you see when you go to a app download page would have to be ready. This is no trivial task because, again, stuff needs to work. This is all marketing. I have to make sure that the app is good. I believe my app is good, but I got to make sure that you believe my app is good as well. And a big part of that, a big part of the communication, as much as I hate to admit it, is marketing. And I got to make sure that the language that I use on both my website as well as in my App Store listing can make a connection, can communicate to you that I can solve the problem that you have. And not only that, but also build trust. In other words, number one, I'm real. Number two, I stand behind my product. Number three, I have conviction on my product. Hard things are going to come, and I will be here to help every customer that I can, right? All those things. I can speak into the camera every day about this, but you got to make sure that, again, these things need to be communicated, conveyed to those people within 5 to 10 seconds of them looking at your website and the App Store. So copy information, wording, screenshots, all those fancy screenshots, you know, they require effort. These are not done yet. So that's a long soliloquy for me to just explain the sort of the challenges that I've discovered about the very first stage of marketing of this app, and the app web page as well as the product web page are taking significantly longer than anticipated. So next week, I'm not going to set a target too high for me. I like to be able to finish the website fully with everything on it, and then take away the bottom banner that says site under construction, which means that, you know, I'm certifying it with my confidence that it's ready to go. Within that, it means that I need to sort out my App Store listing. And this is the part that I've sort of been trying to avoid a little bit now, because it's, you know, it's the type of work that you have to tackle, but not necessarily sparking joy. So these are the two tasks for next week. And if I don't touch anything in the app, if I don't push any updates or commits to the app, I'm content, so long as I can get those two things done. That's it for this week. I will see you next week.